Hi, friends. I'm Courtney. I'm a performer, speaker, and a writer. I'm a mama to 3 crazy boys and a super sweet dog. I decided 12 years ago that I needed to create a business that worked for me instead of me working for it. I'm a multi-passionate entrepreneur who may be considered a serial entrepreneur by some, but then I realized that all of my businesses focused on connection, community, and creating an incredible experience. I cannot wait to share with you how to make small but mighty changes in your life to affect your overall well-being and create a life and business you want to get up in the morning for. That's right, my friends. I am the Renaissance Mama. Hi friends, it's Courtney, the Renaissance Mama, and I want to thank you so much for taking the time to check out my show. And if you haven't heard, there is some really big news. The Renaissance Mama can now be found on a brand new network called FEM. FEM, Female Empowered Movement. FEM is the first network of its kind. It's all female content by females for females. It's going to be so amazing. It's a little bit of everything. We chat anything from business to parenting to beauty to fashion to, I don't know, but it is incredible. There are some unbelievable women already on the network, some really, really fun shows to watch, to check out, and there's going to be more. It's going to continue growing. To check FEM out, you can find us on many different televisions. You just have to download certain apps. One of the apps right now that you can find us on is called Glory Star. So go to the App Store on your TV, check out Glory Star, and under feature channel is FEM. So very, very exciting stuff. I know there's going to be so much more to come. I cannot wait for you guys to check out some of these new shows. They are hilarious, engaging, inspiring. They are all the things. And that actually goes perfectly into what the episode is about today. Today, I am chatting about some of my mentors. These are mentors in business, in life, in parenting, in all of the things. These are 4 different women who I have just been inspired by for so long. I listen to their podcasts, I read their books, I buy their programs, I just consume their content, all for different reasons. They all kind of represent different things for me, but I know I would not be where I'm at today without these 4 mentors. Now listen, when I say the word mentors, they don't know me. They don't even know I exist. I've been in workshops where they've said my name or answered my question, and I've totally fangirled them and like, oh my gosh, she said my name. But it doesn't matter because the content they share and the advice they provide, the things I have learned from them, that is what's important. That is what has changed my life, really. It is because of what I've learned from these 4 women and continue to learn that is really, just inspired me every single day to take action, to be the person I want to be, to build my business, to really get the life that I want. So I am so excited to share with you guys today these 4 women, what they're all about, what they stand for, how they've affected me, some of the things I've learned from them, and how you can find out more about them. So if you do not have a mentor, and I use that word very, very loosely, I suggest that you start listening. You start listening to lots of different podcasts, checking out video shows, finding out what other people are, into. And hopefully there is somebody that you will resonate with. And it might be somebody who is similar to you. It might be somebody who has something that you want. Maybe they have this, incredible business, incredible life. Maybe they parent like you've always dreamed of. Maybe they're always like put together. Maybe it is somebody who has something that they stand for that you really admire. Maybe it's somebody who does something that you like really appreciate, like how they show up or how they engage or how they build their business. I don't know what it is, but I suggest you to start listening, consuming content. And then once you find somebody that you're like, oh yeah, I like this person, decide that they're your mentor, right? Take in their content, watch their shows, read their stuff, take their courses if they have it, just consume their content. And then maybe what had happened to me is that you learn about somebody else from that one. And then you grow and move and continue on. But these 4 women that I'm chatting about today, like I said, they have changed my life. So I am hoping if you don't know about them, you check them out. If you do know about them, then you know what I'm talking about. But I highly suggest if you don't have somebody that you're like, that's sort of my mentor, that you start looking for one, because like I said, these women have changed my life. Okay, so let's get started. I am going to start from the person that I discovered first. I'm not going by favorites because number one, these mentors, I can't give you favorites. It's like my kids. I don't have a favorite. That doesn't exist. But I will say that each of these women, I have needed their advice or their content or their books or whatever at different seasons in my life. And I find what happens is during that season, I'm like consuming everything that they're throwing out there. I am taking it in, and then I might move on to somebody else. But these 4 are like my main ones that I'm constantly listening to. I'm constantly, seeing what they're up to, taking their advice, and seeing what they're all about. So the first one is the OG Marie Forleo. She, in my mind, is like the godmother of it all. If you do not know Marie Forleo, she is incredible. She has a podcast and a video show as well called Marie TV, where she chats about business and life. She has incredible guests on her show all of the time. What I love about Marie Forleo, first of all, I have been listening, consuming her content for the longest. She is the one that I discovered first, and I kind of like would listen for a while. And even I remember when my kids were very, very little, and I was definitely not ready to like go full out in my business. I remember taking a workshop and she answered one of my questions. And like I said before, I fangirled like nobody's business. I was so excited. She's just been absolutely amazing. If you don't know Marie, you have to. She is the person who kind of coined the term multi-passionate entrepreneur. And of course, that resonated with me. I am somebody who starts all of these businesses. I'm somebody who is into so many different things that I have a hard time stopping and focusing on one thing. And what I love about Marie is she was like that too. She was a Nike athlete dancer. She was, started a life coaching business before it was cool. She started an incredible program called B School, and she does so many things. I also love that Marie is very authentic. She is unapologetically herself all of the time. If you ever check out her show, and not even just the podcast, but the video version of her show, Marie TV, she is this stunning, beautiful woman, put together, looking good, but she has no problem being very silly, which I love. She makes all these funny jokes. She sometimes drops F-bombs. She just is hilarious. And then she's got this character, because she's from Jersey, that she calls Jersey Marie. And I just love the fact that here's this woman who's so put together, so successful, knows what she's all about, and has no problem just like being herself. Like I respect that so much. So like I said, I listen to her podcast, watch her show for many years. Marie is also very, very passionate about what she does. And she teaches people, women in particular, on how to craft and grow and develop their business. Marie also has a book called Everything is Figure Outable. And that in itself, like, really just defines who she is. The book is really all about, if you want something in life, you can figure it out. If you want a business, if you want success, if you want to, go for that job, if you want to take that risk, if you want something bad enough, everything is figure outable. The book is so good, and she talks about her mom, who, like, honestly, when she describes it, you envision her mom. You envision her little Italian mom, and she does this, like, she takes apart a radio. It's a very cool story. You need to check out the book. But also what I love about her book is that it is one of those books where she makes you work. You're not just reading it. Like, you got to take action. One of her favorite phrases is like, action leads to clarity, right? So she wants you to take action. She doesn't want you to just read her book or listen to her show, listen to her podcast. She wants you to do these things. And the way she is so passionate about it, you're like, you believe you can do it. You know you can do it, because she breaks it down as like, you're going to figure it out. She gives you that inspiration. She gives you that confidence. So the book, if you are thinking about starting a business, if you are stuck or you feel like, I just don't know what's going on with my life, the book is an incredible resource. Then Marie also has her signature digital course called B-School. If you've seen my episodes before, my very first episode was just after I started B-School. And B-School to me was something that was always a bit of a pipe dream. I had looked at it for years. I loved starting my businesses, but like I said, I was never all in with them. I was always being a mom or being my wife, or, just doing all of the things that I couldn't fully just bet on myself. So on my 39th birthday, I decided it was time. I was sick of waiting. I was sick of hanging around being like, oh, okay, soon it will be my turn. Soon. Because soon doesn't happen, right? So finally I took the leap and I invested in B-School. And I will still say to this day, B-School was one of the greatest investments. Not only is it an incredible course, you meet so many wonderful people, like-minded people, right? So all these people who want to invest in themselves and their business. But Marie breaks down why people want to go into your business. She breaks down like the nitty gritty of who you are serving, why you are serving, what this vision of this business is all about. And she gives you the options. Like, you really get to like figure out, okay, why do I want to create this business? And it's funny, when I started B-School, I had this like vision of what I thought I wanted to do. And I sort of got halfway through and was like, wait a second, this is not who I want to serve. This is not the business I want to create. I put on the brakes and I started again. And that's what's so amazing about B-School is you have lifetime access. So this incredible program that I did invest in, I invested in myself. I can go back anytime and check it out, do it again, meet new like-minded people, and experience it all over again. So she is so good though at like breaking down the different pieces of what makes this business incredible. The other thing she did that I absolutely loved is that she was able to like just answer questions. She was able to give people confidence. She was able to take away kind of the scary parts of business. Instead of feeling like, oh, I don't want to sell, it was like more of, how do I serve people? Like, who are you serving? How are you helping them? And getting very clear on who it was that you are helping. The other thing I absolutely loved about B-School was from the very beginning, I told you before, Marie is so passionate. She's so passionate in everything she does, but she teaches that in her business school. She wants your business to not just be about profit and making money. She wants to bring in that passion and that service and how it can be good. So one of the first lessons, which is so funny, is how your business can give back. Now, this is a funny concept when you're sitting there trying to design a business and you're thinking, oh my God, I have no money coming in. How can I give back? But it's just this like beautiful thought of like, wait a second. why? That's right. Why would I want to create a business that's just about taking money and providing a service or providing a product? I want this well-rounded, beautiful business that can give back to the world. So she just had this beautiful way of really structuring what your business could be, how it looked, broke down these lovely modules. She had like resources that you had to do work. Like, trust me, Marie is a woman that is not afraid of doing the work. I love hearing her podcast, and she'll say like, there's nights where she wants to have a glass of wine with dinner, but she knows next morning she's going to be up at like 4:30 in the morning and she has an interview that she wants to prep for. Like, she is not afraid of hard work. And that is why I believe she is so successful. She has another program I haven't checked out quite yet called Time Genius. And it literally breaks down like how you can be better with your time, which is something everybody wants to do, especially us ladies, and especially if you have a business as well. The last thing that I just think is so amazing about Marie, and it goes back to that, like just being authentically herself, is that she actually is not big on social media because she doesn't want to be. She knows her priorities in life, and she is so clear on what is important to her and how she structures her day, her weeks, her life around those priorities. So I think it's just absolutely incredible when you're looking at these people that have these huge businesses and you think, oh, you have to do social media, you have to do this, you have to do that. Marie's like, no, you don't have to do it. I do it this way, and she is incredibly successful. She spends probably very little time. Like, she only launches her B School one time a year. I think she launches Time Genius one time a year. The rest, she does a little affiliates here or there. And then she focuses on her show and how she provides and gives back to the community. So if you don't know her, I highly suggest you check out marieforleo.com. She has tons of YouTube videos from years ago that are still so important. Like, whether you're talking about business, whether you're talking about your life, like just tons of different things. Any topic you think about, like how much should I charge for my product? Google it, and there's a Marie TV episode on it that you will definitely enjoy. So that's my OG. That is my godmother, the person who I think, like I said, really changed my thoughts on what my life could be, my thoughts on what my business could be. I think before I took B School and before I invested in myself, I was running these businesses and I was having a good time, but I was always playing very small. I didn't really think that I could have that success. But after taking B School, after really learning those strategies and systems and getting so clear on what I wanted, on the business I wanted to create, that I definitely think of Marie Forleo when I think of that. Okay, the second mentor that you need to check out if you do not know is Jenna Kutcher. So Jenna has a podcast called the Goal Diggers Podcast. And I say it like that because my middle son always thinks it's the Gold Digger Podcast. And he's like, Mom, why you listen to a Gold Digger podcast? Like, he thinks this is hilarious, but it's Goal, Goal, Diggers Podcast. And Jenna's story is really fun. You can hear it even in her intro, but she went from working this like corporate job at Target, and she bought a camera off of Craigslist. Yeah, Craigslist. She bought this camera off Craigslist, became a very successful photographer, wedding photographer. And then she started a podcast, and now she sells these digital courses. But what I love about Jenna is Jenna, when you listen to her podcast, just sounds like she's like your best friend. Like, she's just chatting with you. She's telling you a story about like, oh yeah, I did this. But she is incredibly successful. She is also one of those people that is so good at adapting. And she has like done one business, and when she was kind of like done with that, she saw another opportunity and started shaping that. And then she saw another opportunity and started shaping that. And I love it because she tells these stories of, when she was getting started. She did her first podcast like in her car. She did her first part because that was where it was quiet. She did a podcast in her car. For years, she was doing podcasts in the closet of her house. And it's just like this beautiful story of if you put the work in, it will happen. She shares stories of how she used to write blogs every single day. Like, she didn't know if anybody was reading them, but she would put in the work. And then eventually people started reading it. And then eventually she started like changing her niche and really getting clear on who she was and what she's all about. One of the things I love about Jenna is she's just very kind of open and empathetic. And she will tell you stories about like her ADHD, and she will tell you stories about how she, couldn't have kids for a while. She had a few miscarriages. She tells these stories of now she's the mom and she just loves being a mom so much. And the stories are just so beautiful. And what I love about her podcast is there'll be episodes where I'm like, oh, I don't know if I really want to listen to that one. That one's not for me. And then I listen to it. I'm like, this is what I needed to hear today. Like, they're just so amazing. Jenna recently, well, I guess it's not as recent, but a few years ago wrote a book as well. And she kind of shocked the whole business community because it wasn't a business book. It was a book called How Are You Really? And it really kind of looked at our society, women in particular, and just checking in with everybody, especially after COVID, especially after all the things we've gone through as a society. But how many times have you talked to someone, you're like, hey, how are you? And like, oh, really good, thanks, I'm fine, or busy, or all those things that we say. And then you're like, oh yeah, how are you? Okay, cool. And then a few minutes later, you're like, okay, but how are you really? Like, what's really going on? So it's this beautiful book at like, really, how do you check in with yourself? How do you check in with others? What are things that you can be constantly thinking about, that you're thinking about your mental health and how you're doing, and not getting so busy in the world that you forget to do that. It's a really beautiful book, and I think it just has so many stories in it that like I can think of right now that make me smile, make me laugh, but also make me think, and also make me be like, wait a second, do I need to do a check-in with myself? Similar to Marie's book, Jenna makes you work in a book. There's little sheets where you stop and answer questions and start kind of like journaling. She tells stories all the time how she never wanted to be someone who like wrote in a journal. She couldn't do it. And then finally she found a tip or a trick that made it work for her. I find a lot of times in her podcast, there's some great tips and tricks and strategies that I'm all the time writing down, taking away, implementing. The other thing that I think really resonates with me and Jenna, and why I think of her as one of my mentors, is Jenna is a mom to two very little girls. Like I said, she's very open about her miscarriages, how she always wanted to be a mom. And for me, it was amazing to find somebody who has this very successful business, but also has the family. I think as a mom for the longest time, I told you I'd create these businesses, but I kept them small because I couldn't see them getting bigger, because my priority was always my kids and my family. So it's like, okay, it has to be that first, and then the business is second. Whereas Jenna has found this way to have this very successful business, be this very successful person, and have her family. And she still makes her family that priority. She's able to adapt. She's able to create. And I think that's what, like I said, that's what really resonated with me when I first started listening to her podcast. Like, here was this woman who was a mom. At the time, it was only one kiddo, but she was pregnant with her second, who was doing all these amazing things. And it just opened my eyes to like, wait a second, I could do this too. She is a mom and she's successful. Like, yes, please. So I think really having Jenna as a mentor opened my eyes to the possibilities and how I could also create this beautiful life that I want to love, that I want to have, that I want to, it's just going to be incredible. So Jenna Kutcher is absolutely amazing. You should check her out. She has some really great courses as well. I find she breaks down some social media platforms and how to use those with your business. She has a really incredible one about Pinterest. I haven't got it yet, but I am definitely eyeing it. And she just is so good at providing value before you even buy. Like throughout her podcast, she'll have some great workshops that anytime you learn from her, you're like, oh my gosh, I want more. She doesn't throw in a lot of fluff. She puts in the details that you need to know, and she wants you to take action right away and get the result right away. So she has the Pinterest lab. She has a list building course that is very successful. I took her challenge a few years ago. I think that's another one I need to look at again. But she really is good at breaking down the steps of what you need to do and being like, here you go, now go implement it. So check out jennakutcher.com. She also has some beautiful templates, things like that for websites from her photography days. She just has very beautiful visuals, amazing stuff on Instagram, amazing stuff all over the place. I also love the fact that Jenna will discuss topics that I find some other people may shy away from. So she has no problems talking about her miscarriages. She has no problems talking about her ADHD. She has no problems talking about how do you deal with finances, or the fact that she's the breadwinner and her husband's a stay-at-home dad. She shares these things, and she does it in such an honest and beautiful way that it's incredible to learn from. So if you don't know her, Jenna Kutcher. She's my number 2. Okay, the third person you need to check out is Amy Porterfield. So Amy has a podcast called Online Marketing Made Easy. I think that's what it is. It's funny that I don't even know the for sure title. And why I say it that way is because her podcast to me is so much more than that. It has taught me about business, about life, about way more than online marketing. She honestly has taught me so much, and I love learning from Amy. Amy, her story was she worked years and years ago with Tony Robbins and then decided she wanted to go out on her own. She started a digital course, I think originally about Facebook ads, and started doing these service business and realized that wasn't her thing. So kind of changed it again. But now she is known for teaching people how to make digital courses. And I recently was in a workshop with Amy, and it was absolutely beautiful because I think it just showed who she was 110%. She had these videos that she showed us from 14 years ago, which is kind of where she started. And they were just so bad, but so inspiring because she has no problem being vulnerable in front of the camera. She, in her podcast, shares all the time her insecurities or what she's thinking when she's saying or doing things. And I just think it's such a breath of fresh air. You have all these people sometimes having shows or podcasts or courses, and they're trying to be the best versions of themselves. And Amy does show up as the best version of herself, but she has no problem being this real life person. So in this workshop, she showed these videos from years ago, pretty much to share with her audience, hey, I was there before too. If I can do it, you can do it. And she is just very, very inspiring. She has that podcast that I absolutely love. Most of the episodes around 45 minutes to an hour. She has tons of really incredible guests. And then she also has an episode once a week that's a 20-minute sort of behind the scenes kind of action. So it's always so fun to see what she shares because like I said, she just welcomes you into her world and you're like, oh my God, you are amazing. I love you. She is also a mom. She's a stepmom, but her kiddo is a little bit bigger now. So she talks a lot of times about what it looked like while she was building her business. And she had this, step kid at home and how she brought him into some of the activities she did. She also has just this incredible way of inspiring people and really saying if you want something, I can teach you how to do it. Whether it's her podcast or course, she is very, very good at taking something that could be complex and breaking it down to very simple steps. She loves strategies. She loves systems. Sometimes when she does it, I'm like, oh my God, I can't do this all. But once you take the time to like organize it and get those systems going, you're like, oh my God, thank you, Amy. This was the greatest idea ever. She is also one of those people that has no problem providing free, valuable content. One of her philosophies is pretty much that, like, provide and service your people and they're going to want more. She wants people to be like, oh my God, this was so amazing. Imagine what, when you pay for something, what you're going to get. Amy also recently wrote a book that I had the privilege on being like the pre-launch team. So I was able to read it before it even got put out in the world. And it is called 2 Weeks Notice. And this book is the like step-by-step plan of somebody who is maybe interested in starting a business, starting a side hustle, but eventually taking that starter business and creating it and making it their full-time job or their full-time life or career, or whatever you want it to be. So she, once again, breaks things down, makes them very simple steps, makes it all seem very doable. Her book also, like the other two, maybe there's a little bit of a pattern here, makes you do the work, right? Like she doesn't want you just to read this book and like put it away. No, she wants you to like put your plan into action. She has different exercises, questions that you kind of walk through when you're reading the book. And it's just very inspiring. I absolutely loved it. If you even think you want to start a business or you have a business or you're, have that side hustle that you're thinking about, what if it could be something bigger? I suggest that you read 2 Weeks Notice or you listen to Amy's podcast, or maybe do both because she is absolutely amazing. Her main course is Digital Course Academy. So like I said, she teaches people how to make digital courses. And once again, it is broken down step by step. She jokes that she like holds people's hand because that's how she likes to learn. She doesn't want the overview picture of how to do something. She wants the step 1, 2, 3, and 4. She wants to share it all. And that is exactly what she does. Digital Course Academy only opens once a year. It is also a pretty big investment, but something that will change your life forever. If you're thinking of creating a digital course, then you want to check out Amy's Digital Course Academy. The other thing I love when you're listening to Amy is that she firmly believes that everybody has a digital course in them, which I think is such a beautiful message. Like there's so many skills that everybody has that yes, you could take that skill, you could take that idea, you could take that accomplishment, turn it into a course and make it profitable. I love listening to Amy's podcast and her stories about her husband, and she just welcomes you in. Like you feel like you're one of her friends. You feel like you could call her up and be like, hey, Amy, what's up? She is also one of those that I was in a workshop with and said my name, and I was like, oh my God, Amy said my name. And I think it was, I told her I was going to do something. Oh my goodness, I just remembered this now. I was in a workshop with Amy and she was like, okay, what kind of content are you going to put out there into the world? And I had said podcast. And that was when I decided I started the show. I started my podcast. It all was because I said to Amy I would do it. And she said, oh, Courtney said she's doing a podcast. And I was like, Amy said my name. Now I have to do it. So Amy, like I said, she has just been a wealth of knowledge. I love learning from her. I love how she breaks down things. I love how she is a regular person. She has her insecurities, but she's extremely successful. She loves her people, her community. She loves her dog Scout. And she is somebody that if you, like I said, if you're thinking of making a digital course, if you're thinking of starting a business, if you're thinking of starting a side hustle, read her book, check her out. You will love her. She has another course as well about list building. And I, once again, haven't checked that one out, but it's one on my list. As you can see, my list of like things I want to take are pretty incredible, but I'll get there. But if you ever want to check her out, amyporterfield.com, check out her podcast, check out her courses, see what she has to offer, because she is always providing free, valuable content that like you will love. Trust me. Okay, and the last person I want to share is pretty new to me, but I want to share about her anyways. I learned of her from listening to Amy Porterfield's podcast, and her name is Emily Hirsch. Now, Emily is a little bit different than the other three. She has a podcast, Not for Lazy Marketers. I believe that's the name. I will share all of these in my notes just so I get them actually right and the links for all of you. But what I really like about Emily is she has this marketing firm. She is really in tune about what is working right now for businesses when it comes to marketing specifics. And she is really great at taking like very technical concepts sometimes and breaking them down and giving incredible value. I took a free 5-day workshop with her. It was free, and I was blown away by how much I learned for free. Like, once again, talk about somebody who is nurturing their community and just really serving from that base of like, I want to be a service to you. She has some incredible offers. She, like I said, with her marketing firm, is very, very busy. So to get on that list, it is sometimes a wait, but totally worth it. She has a program that kind of teaches you how to do your own marketing and really works through like a marketing campaign, looks at what you're doing, looks at your business, looks at your ideal customers and how they could reach that. And then she has an option, if you got a little bit more money to spend, that she'll do it all for you. Like I said, she has this podcast. I really like her podcast because they're shorter. They're around 20 minutes. And she does like a quick little 5 minutes about her life, which sounds absolutely amazing. She is always traveling. She has family. She has this like beautiful life. And once again, I think it's just like, I hear about it. I'm like, oh my gosh, that sounds incredible. And for me as a mom, once again, goes back to that, like, okay, this woman is able to have the family, have the successful business, and is still traveling and doing all these incredible things while having that. So has really opened my eyes to the possibilities of like, yes, I can have all of that and I can make that all happen. So listening to her has very much inspired me. She then breaks down, like I said, those marketing kind of ideas and concepts into very simple steps. The other thing I really like about Emily's podcast is she very much takes what she's hearing from people. Like, she'll be like, oh, I had a conversation the other day, and she has a podcast episode about it. So I love that because I am always listening to my audience. I'm always having conversations with people. I'm always kind of like taking something from them and being like, oh my gosh, I've got to talk about this because this is what people are talking about. So I think Emily is really good at just really kind of having a pulse on things and listening to her audience and then giving this incredible, wonderful advice. Emily doesn't have a book out yet, but I think she should. So that's a little nudge, by the way. But she does, like I said, offer absolutely incredible free things. Like, so the workshop, I think she has a workshop coming up soon. And then she has some great offers within her business as well. But if you're looking specifically for marketing ideas, strategies, kind of concepts, I would say check out Emily's podcast. The other thing I like about Emily's podcast is she's very much not about like hacks or tips or tricks or things like that. She's about the basics. And she's also one of those people, and I think all four of my ladies, that's probably why I love them all, is not afraid of putting the hard work in. Like, it's funny because she talks about this, like she travels and does this and like, and it sounds amazing, but like you also have this vision of her like working till like 3:00 in the morning. Like, I just feel like she is one of those people that is so passionate. She's got her hand in so many things. Like, she said the other day on her podcast that she knows all the different businesses that her firm is working with right now. She knows all the strategies. Like, she is in all the different files and she's aware of all of them. So she might not be working directly with all of them, but she is aware of all of them. And that to me is like speaks volumes of what kind of business she runs and what kind of person she is. That she just cares about all of those businesses and their success so much that she's right in there. The other thing I really like about Emily, and she shares a lot on her podcast, is that she firmly believes in like, how fast can you adapt? So especially when you're talking about like marketing and marketing campaigns, like if you want it to succeed, you have to be ready to be fast and make changes, because nothing works right the first time. It's not supposed to. It shouldn't. If it did, you wouldn't have to market, really, right? Like if you knew the number one answer to always do something and it's always going to be successful, you would be a billionaire already, right? But life is not like that. Marketing is not like that. So she is very good at adapting quickly and making things successful. So check her out, emilykirsch.com. Well, my friends, those are my 4 mentors. Like I said, if you don't have somebody that you are regularly consuming their content, listening, reading, taking in what they are putting out there, I highly suggest you find some people. And just a reminder, if you want to learn more from mine, it's Marie Forleo, Jenna Kutcher, Amy Porterfield, and Emily Hirsch. I will share the links below just in case I gave you the wrong ones. Let's be honest, I might not have been perfect at all the names and all the details, but I will share them with you in my notes, or check out therenaissancemama.com and I will share more all about those incredible women, because I just think there's so much out there, and why not learn from the best? So like I said before, find those people that you resonate with, or find those people that you have those similarities, something you want. They are incredible. And I think anything in life, if it's business, parenting, like beauty, fashion, all of those things, like there are so many incredible experts out there, and why not learn from someone who's done it before? So I hope you enjoyed this episode. I would love to hear from you. Who is one of your mentors right now? So find me on therenaissancemama.com, on Instagram at Courtney Renaissance Mama. I want to hear, who do you love to listen to, love to learn from? Who is one of your favorites? Because maybe it's somebody I need to check out as well. Okay, thanks so much. Bye for now, friends.